U.S. trade negotiators are urging the European Union to make unilateral tariff reductions on U.S. goods, warning that without such concessions, progress in ongoing trade talks will be stalled. According to a report by the Financial Times, U.S. Trade Representative Jamieson Greer is reportedly preparing to tell European Trade Commissioner Maros Sefcovic that the EU's recent explanatory note does not meet U.S. expectations. Sources tell the Financial Times that the note, shared as part of ongoing talks, falls short of the criteria set by the U.S. While the European Union has been advocating for a jointly agreed framework to guide the negotiations, significant differences between the two sides remain complicating the process. In March, the U.S. imposed a 25% tariff on EU cars, steel and aluminum, followed by a 20% tariff on other EU goods in April. The U.S. later reduced the 20% rate by half, but set a deadline of July 8th for a more comprehensive tariff deal, allowing a 90-day window for talks to take shape. In response, the EU suspended its own retaliatory tariff plans on certain U.S. goods and proposed eliminating tariffs on all industrial goods from both sides. As of now, neither the European Commission nor the U.S. Trade Representative's Office has commented on the latest developments. G7 finance leaders have said that economic policy uncertainty has declined from its peak. According to a joint statement released after a three-day gathering in Canada, Banff, the statement also stressed the group's commitment to working together to achieve further progress. TIFF Tiff McLean, Governor of the Bank of Canada, has commented on this. Let's hear what he had to say.
The communique highlights that we are pleased to see that uncertainty has come down, but we clearly have more work to do. I think there was a clear message in the communique that we are committed to continuing to reduce that uncertainty, and that includes around trade and tariff.
The finance ministers and central bank governors from the world's 7 leading advanced economies wrapped up their discussions in Banff, Canada, with a focus on restoring stability in global trade, despite concerns over U.S. President Donald Trump's tariffs, which have created economic turbulence. The G7 presented a unified front. The group acknowledged the decline in economic policy uncertainty, but also highlighted concerns over unsustainable global macro imbalances. G7 finance ministers agreed to maximum pressure on Russia if it resists a ceasefire in Ukraine, with further sanctions possible. EU economy chief Valdis Dombrovskis has commented. Let's listen in.
It looks like indeed a successful G7 meeting, and the mood in the meetings was positive and constructive, and we are able to make progress on many issues, both concerning the global economy, addressing imbalances, but also as regards, for example, Russia's aggression against Ukraine and our response. So all in all, we are making good progress.
Diplomatic efforts to end the Ukraine conflict have intensified, with Russian and Ukrainian officials meeting for face-to-face talks in Istanbul last week. However, the Kremlin has disputed reports suggesting that new peace talks with Ukraine would soon take place in the Vatican. And lastly, White House Press Secretary Karoline Leavitt has announced that President Donald Trump will attend the G7 Leaders Summit in Canada from June 15th to 17th. Now we move on to Asia. A multi-party delegation led by Kanimozhi Karunanidhi landed in Moscow to begin a 5-nation tour on cross-border terrorism at the Domodedovo International Airport. Ms. Karunanidhi and members of her team were received by Indian Ambassador Vinay Kumar and other officials. The 8-member delegation includes SP MP Rajiv Rai, NC MP Mian Altaf Ahmed, and BJP MP Captain Brijesh Chauta, AAP MP Ashok Kumar Mittal, Ambassador Manjeev S. Puri and Ambassador Javed Ashraf. The visit follows the Pahalgam terror attack on April 22nd, which has left 26 civilians dead. India responded with Operation Sindoor, a major military strike on terror camps. The team will meet Russian lawmakers and officials before traveling to Slovenia, Greece, Latvia, and Spain. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi declared a new normal, saying any cross-border terror act would now be treated as an act of war. Meanwhile, Indian External Affairs Minister Subrahmanyam Jaishankar is visiting Germany, Denmark, and the Netherlands, pushing India's zero-tolerance stand on terrorism. Let's listen in to what he has said in his latest interview in Denmark.
Because again, when we look at big global challenges, I think I would put terrorism right up there as one of the key challenges. It will affect the entire world. And we've had to grapple with a very serious terrorist attack in April. And what followed was a consequence of that, because the terrorists were based in a neighboring country and were operating with impunity and with a high degree of state protection and support. So we had the conflict for a few days that you spoke about. Now, we resolved that conflict for the moment in its particular military form through agreement and understanding for a cessation of firing and military action. And this was something that we negotiated directly between the militaries of the two countries. The trigger for it was that after we had fighting for a few days, we hit them very hard on a particular morning, the morning of the 10th to be precise, and that caused the Pakistanis to say, okay, we're prepared to stop the firing and reach an understanding about how to deal with it. So I just want to get that part of it across to you.
He chaired a European envoy conference in Berlin and said India will act if terror attacks continue from Pakistan. Operation Sindoor, launched on May 7th, destroyed terror hubs in Pakistan and POK, killing over 100 terrorists. India also damaged 11 Pakistani air bases, hitting radars, airstrips, and communications. A ceasefire was announced on May 10th, but tensions remain high. Indian PM Modi has dubbed Operation Sindoor a fierce expression of a capable India. Now we stay in Asia. The Philippines has condemned the Chinese Coast Guard for using a water cannon on a Philippine research vessel in the South China Sea. The incident occurred near Sandy Cay, a disputed area. Manila says the action endangers the lives of crew members and damaged the vessel. China, however, claims the Philippine ships entered its waters illegally and landed on the reef without permission. Beijing insists its Coast Guard acted by the law, calling their actions necessary to protect sovereignty. The Philippines' allies have expressed concern, urging respect for international law and regional stability. In the ongoing trial of Sean Diddy Combs rapper Scott Kid Cudi, Ms. Cudi testified on Thursday about a violent confrontation in 2011 that he claims was part of a broader pattern of abuse. The hip-hop mogul is facing charges including racketeering, conspiracy, and sex trafficking stemming from a 20-year scheme to coerce women into taking part in drug-fueled sex parties. Ms. Cudi, testifying as a prosecution witness, described how Combs allegedly broke into his home after discovering Ms. Cudi was dating his then-girlfriend Cassandra Ventura. The rapper recalled receiving a call from Ventura in December 2011 telling him Combs has found out about their relationship and asked him to pick her up. Combs, who has pleaded not guilty to all charges, faces up to life in prison if convicted on all counts.